friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, I am finally doing my ranking of all of the eyeshadow palettes I tried in 2021. Now I do mention this once I get into the actual video, but I want to say it twice because I feel like somebody's gonna say something. I did just do my full-on eyeshadow collection and declutter video. Actually, my whole declutter series is complete at this point, but I did already do my entire eyeshadow collection and declutter video where I went very much into detail about each individual palette. I really wanted to not be redundant in this video by doing the exact same thing, so I did breeze through each palette a bit quicker just to get to the point of why it was ranked in its spot, and then I moved on. So if you want more detailed opinions on each palette, please go watch that video. That is the one I recommend if you want very detailed descriptions of each palette. But if you're just here just to kind of see what I put up against other things and what kind of made it to the top and what made it on the bottom, this is the place for you. I tried so many palettes this year. It honestly blows my mind how many palettes I tried, and this video was overwhelming to say the least. Thankfully, I've been kind of keeping a list going all year long, kind of moving things around in order that I wanted them to be, so it wasn't horrible to plan for. But it did take the entire year to plan for it. Before we get into the video itself though, I did already film this look. If you are interested in seeing me create it, it's already on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And let me just give you my accessory details really quick. These plugs are Love Kills Boutique, and my earrings and necklace are from Shop Set & Co. You can use my affiliate code BATTYBEAN for 10% off. Anyways, without further ado, I don't want to jab my jaws too much in this intro because this will be a longer video, so let's just hop into the ranking and I will chat with you again after. All right, my friends, we're gonna get into this ranking. I have 109 palettes to go through. I am gonna try to just breeze through this because I did just very recently do my entire full-on eyeshadow palette collection and declutter where I went into detail about not only all of these palettes, but all of the palettes in my collection in general. So if you wanna hear very more detailed opinions about each palette, I would highly recommend checking out that video. In this video, I'm mostly just going to show you my ranking. I'm gonna just kind of quickly go over what it is, why it's ranked in the spot it's ranked, and then move on to the next one. Before we get into that though, I do just want to quickly say, if I happen to put your favorite palette of all time lower on the ranking, please do not get offended. It's all in good fun. It's just makeup. We all have different preferences and that's okay. I will kind of give you the cutoff of which palettes I did end up decluttering because some of my decluttered palettes are in this video. So I'll give you the cutoff of where that happens, and yeah, I think I've said it all. We're just gonna get through it now. Let's get started. Ranked 109 is my e.l.f. Electric Mood palette. Basically, this is just the crummiest palette I tried this year out of all of the palettes that I tried. The performance wasn't great, not my favorite. Number 108 is my Crush palette from Colourpop. Basically, I just enjoy the formula of this far more than the Electric Mood, but this color story is just not inspiring to me. Copper-based neutrals, not really my thing, so that's why it's 108. 107 is my What a Hoot palette, also from Colourpop. Basically, same kind of deal. It's just very warm tone neutrals. I enjoy this one a little bit more than the Copper Crush one or whatever it was called, but it's still just very uninspiring to me. Number 106 is my Spoiled Cosmetics Tropical Traveler palette. Basically, the color story is more fun than what I've talked about before, but this formula just isn't that great. It's very subpar. It doesn't really do that well for me, so that's why this one is so low as well. Number 105 is my Urban Decay Eternals palette. First of all, the packaging is very annoying. That's definitely caused me to want to rank this lower on the list. Basically, it's not a horrible palette, but it just really isn't anything that great for me. The formula is not bad, but it's just kind of boring. It's not one that I want to keep using frequently, so that's why it is ranked so low. And also why I've decluttered all of these thus far and going forward. Number 104 is the Urban Decay Naked Wild West. I don't know what it is about this palette, but this one just kind of bored me. I really don't have any particular reason why. It just was not exciting to me. I didn't have fun playing with this one. Again, the formula wasn't horrible, but I just did not have a lot of fun playing with it. Number 103 is Lyric from Colourpop, just another one of those 5 pans. Again, I like this color story more than what I've talked about so far. It is pretty, kind of more cool tone, neutral glam, but it's just not super exciting, so that's why it is where it is. Number 102 is my Illamasqua Beyond Artistry palette. Basically with this one, the colors are kind of fun, but just the performance isn't what I want it to be. It's not super crazy impactful. They're a little more on the subtle side, so that's why I didn't rank it any higher than this, but I do like the color story more than what I've talked about. Number 101 is going to be Daily Dose of Love from Essence. This isn't horrible performance-wise. It's nothing that exciting, but it's not bad. It's just a little uninspiring again. Everything else I have to talk about is a little more exciting to me, so that's why this one is 101. Number 100, this is Colourpop's Ballad. I do like cool tone neutrals. I enjoy gray leaning neutrals, but again, everything else going forward is just a wee bit more exciting for me to want to play with, so that's why this one is 100. Number 99 is the Thumper palette from Colourpop. I like the little pop of green, I like the cool tone neutrals again, but to reiterate, everything else going forward is just a teeny bit more exciting. This one I didn't find myself wanting to keep reusing. Number 98 is the Roaring Hearts palette from Colourpop. It's just kind of like a basic glam leaning palette, a little bit more on the warmer side. It's not horrible, it's just not my cup of tea personally. 97 is the Flower palette from Colourpop. Again, I enjoy the colors. I think the purple tones are cute, but I just wasn't super inspired and gung-ho to want to keep playing with it. Number 96 is Amore from Colourpop. I like the berry tones. I do get down with berry tones, but because there's a pressed glitter in it, I'm less likely to reach for it, especially because it is only a 5-pan, so everything else I have is just a little bit more inspiring than this one. And again, just to reiterate, some of these ones down low aren't necessarily bad palettes. They're just not like totally what I want to play with all the time, so that's why I ended up ranking them very low and ultimately decluttering them as well. Number 95 is Cherish. It is my favorite out of these like little 5-pans as far as like this particular one so far, but again, it's just not so exciting that I wanted to keep reaching for it. I do like the kind of cherry neutral vibe, but it just wasn't enough for me to want to rank it higher. Number 94 is the Luster Charm from Alter Ego. This is a dupe for something Pat McGrath, but I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. The formula is nice in here, specifically Sacred is a really beautiful shimmer, but for the most part, it's just kind of like your average run-of-the-mill neutrals with pinky shades kind of palette. It's not super inspiring to me, so that's why I put it here. 93, we have the 5-Star Island Quad from Colourpop. I like this Animal Crossing one more than the What a Hoot one, and I do just think this is a cute color story. It's cute for a little 4-pans, but I just didn't find myself reaching for it enough. I think everything else I'm just more likely to reach for. Number 92 is Your Golden from Colourpop, one of their mega palettes. This one has a general color story. It's like an extended version of the Colourpop Dream Street from back in the day, but I would prefer the more condensed down version of this. It's just too big for me, too many repetitive shades, so I couldn't rank it any higher. And number 91 is Make It Fearless from Colourpop. This is my favorite like 5-pan so far. I think the color story's cute, the sunset vibes, and I liked it. Again, I just didn't like it enough, you know? It just didn't do quite enough for me. Some of these I also just don't have a super particular reason why it's so low. I just kind of went with my gut and just kind of went with what I would reach for over another thing, basically. All right, ranked number 90 is my Canyon palette from Alter Ego. Again, it's just kind of a neutral palette. I do really like the shimmers though. The shimmer formula is why this one got bumped higher than some of the other things I talked about. I really do enjoy the shimmers, but the color story just isn't really my thing. 89 is my Nomad Cosmetics Venice Simplon Express palette. This is a smaller version of the Orient Express. This was in collaboration with Ipsy. The colors are cute. It's just not like such a blow it out of the water color story for me that I should rank it any higher, but I do like this formula more than the Alter Ego one. 88 is Cloud Spun from Colourpop, and I do think this is a really cute color story. I think it's fun, I think it's playful. It just had so many other pinks in my collection, and the fact that this one has a pressed glitter makes me least likely to use it. So yeah, that's why this one is here. But I do like it more than everything I've talked about. 87 is the Mandalorian palette from Colourpop, and on the surface I do like this one. I love the 3 duochromes in the middle, but just as a general color story, it's not one that I'm going to reach for very often, so I do like it more than everything else so far, but I still was just not super inspired by this one, aside from those duochromes. Number 86 is my Nomad Home for the Holidays palette, and this one I don't dislike. It's a mostly shimmer palette with just a black matte, and it's just rainbows. They're pretty shimmers. I love Nomad shimmer formula, but because it's a mostly just shimmer palette of rainbows, it's not one that I'm gonna reach for all the time, so that's why I had to rank it as low as I did. Number 85 is the Nook Ink palette from the Animal Crossing collab with Colourpop. Again, I like the greens. I think the colors are cute. I'm just very unlikely to reach for it. If I'm gonna reach for a quad, it has to be very special shadows, and these just aren't special enough for me. This one is 84. This is La Belle of the Ball from the Animal Crossing collab as well. And while I do like this one the most out of the Animal Crossing collab, I still just didn't love this one enough to rank it any higher. But it is cute. I like this duochrome. I wish the other ones had a duochrome as well. Number 83 is Aether Beauty's Mini Topaz palette. I really like the colors in here. I love this grungy topaz-y kind of vibe, but again, the shimmers aren't special enough for me to feel compelled to reach for a quad, so that's why I put it where I put it. But I do think the colors are really pretty, and I like the formula. It just wasn't special enough for me to keep a quad. Number 82 is the Fine Feathered palette, and honestly, we're at the point now where I don't totally dislike anything. I just like some other things a lot more. And this is kind of one of those. It's not horrible. It doesn't have any pressed glitters or anything like that. I don't know. I just liked everything else a little bit more going forward. This one was it was just fine. Nothing too special to me. And number 81 is my Hello Kitty Cocoa Cutie palette. It's a little quad of blues, and while the blues are very pretty and I like the 2 mattes, 2 shimmers with no glitter, again, with the quad, it just wasn't special enough for me to want to keep. I think I only kept 1 quad actually in my collection and declutter series, so it just wasn't special enough. Number 80, we have Cherry Sweet from the Colourpop Hello Kitty collection. Again, it's very cute. I like the ratio of matte to shimmer, but it just wasn't enough for me, so liked it more than the previous things, but not enough to make it any higher. Number 79 is Too Hot from Colourpop. Very similar to what I just talked about, but I do like the 5 pans over the 4 a little bit more. But this just palette of pinks wasn't enough for me to keep it forever, so had to rank it a little bit lower. I like everything else going forward just a tad bit more. Number 78 is the Rare Beauty Confident Energy palette. Now this formula isn't super great for me. It's just a little on the subdued side, but they're not bad. They are still pretty, and I do like the colors in here. So because I like the color story so much, I ranked it a little bit higher, but this all shimmer palette, it just wasn't my favorite enough formula to 1, keep it, or 2, rank it any higher than this. But it's not a bad palette, and I do like the packaging as well. Number 77 is the Colourpop Powerpuff Girls palette, and I do think this is fun. It's bright, it's cute. It's just a little too, I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't really do enough. I feel like there's too many pops of neutral on the top. I don't know. I feel like they just could have made this one a little bit spicier. 76 is my Colourpop Cashmere Forever. I do really like these purples. I ultimately decluttered this one because I have other purples in my collection that I like a little bit more. But I do think this is a cute color story, so that's why I ranked it higher than everything else. But again, everything else I just like a teeny bit more. And 75 is Rumor Has It from Colourpop. I like this one more than that blue quad I talked about earlier. And I do think the shades are fun, but again, it just wasn't really enough for me. You know, sometimes you don't have a reason. This one is just kind of that. We're kind of hitting that middle of the road, you know? 74 is Play It Jewel from Colourpop. Now I do like this color story on the surface level. I think the rich jewel shades are really pretty, but again, it's just too big, too many repetitive shades. If this was condensed a lot more, I probably would have either kept it or at least ranked it a lot higher, but as it stands, I could only put it where I put it because I do like the colors, but it's just a little too big, too repetitive. 73 is the Hello Kitty Yellow Quad, and this one is really cute. I actually almost kept this one. We're getting to the point now where I'm getting to my keeps. This is still a decluttered one, but again, I just wasn't gonna be able to reach for this one enough to rank it any higher or to keep it, but it is very cute. 72 is the What Dreams Are Made Of palette, the Lizzie McGuire palette with Colourpop. Again, similar to Powerpuff Girls, I think it's cute, it's bright, it's fun. It just didn't do quite enough for me to rank it any higher. Everything else I have going forward really was a better palette for me, so that's why I ranked this one where I did, but I did enjoy playing with this one. And ranked 71 is my Orchid You Not palette. This one I actually did almost keep because I do love the berry tones. It just, as it stands, I have other berries in my collection I like more. So that's why I didn't rank it any higher. I like everything else going forward more, but I do love this one a lot more than everything else I've talked about, like by a lot. And finally, number 70 is my Shadow Kiss palette from Alter Ego, and this is actually the last palette I decluttered. Everything else going forward, well, there's one more thing that I decluttered, but I'll get into why it's ranked higher later, but pretty much everything else going forward was a keep except for one thing. But this is the Shadow Kiss, and this is another one that I almost kept. I only decluttered it because I had 2 other palettes that I liked more that were these cool tone vibes, so actually 3 now that I think about it. So I didn't need to keep this one, but I almost did. I love cool tone neutrals. I like the shimmers in here a lot. They're very pretty and glamorous. All right, getting into the first of things that I kept, but keeping on with the ranking. Number 69 is my Sweet and Sticky palette from Give Me Glow. I really enjoy this one. The only reason this one is as low as it is compared to the other things that I kept is just because like out of all the color stories, this one is the most basic, but I do still think it's pretty. I love Give Me Glow's shimmers. I love their matte formula, so this one was an obvious keep for me, and it's just a cute little neutral palette to have kicking around. 68 is my Rudolph palette with Colourpop. This is just very cute. It's just like muted holiday. I like the cool tone neutrals. I like the pops of green and red. I think it's very cute. I just think everything else is a little bit cuter. This one is still a little on the basic side, but I do still enjoy it a lot. 67 is my Lilac You A Lot palette. It looks like this. I actually quite enjoy this one. I really like the tones in here. I like the different pops of purpley pink. I love the shimmers. I think this is a very fun and playful color story. I don't know, something about it didn't make me want to rank it any higher. I don't really have a reason why, but this is kind of where it's at. Again, we're at kind of the point now where we're kind of in the middle ground where like, it's not my favorite of my favorite, but I don't dislike them. That's why they weren't decluttered. They're just kind of middle ground. Like, I like them, they're fine. I just don't like love them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not screaming about them from the rooftops. 66 is the Wild Child palette from Colourpop. It looks like this. Very just like deeper, richer neutrals. And I didn't really have anything else like this in my collection, which is why I kept it. And I do still think it's really pretty. I've been really happy with all the looks I've created with it, despite having the glitter in there. I don't know what it is. Something about this just made me feel really pretty. 65 is the Honore palette by Kyla, formerly known as Mousse Beauty. I think this is really pretty. It's kind of like a muted garden. I think it's lovely. It's just not a color story that I'm gonna reach for all the time, but I do still think it's charming and it was fun to play with. Number 64 is the Blooms palette from Alter Ego. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Love, I believe, and the Shadow Kiss I think was of the Glam, but I could be wrong. But this one is the Love. I love a pink, purple, red color story. I think it's really pretty, so this color story definitely has my heart. I only ranked it as low as I did because there's a couple shades in here that are kind of like a creamy matte texture and they just don't get as pigmented as I would like, but I do still really enjoy this palette. 63 is my Victory palette from Game Beauty. I think this one's really pretty. It has lovely shimmers in here, like these two in particular are outstanding. It's just still a little on the safer side as far as a color story is for me. It's not one that I feel like I'm gonna go out of my way to reach for that often, but I do still enjoy having it in my collection and I've had a lot of fun playing with it. Number 62 is my Teeny Keeny palette from Hello Kitty Colourpop. This is the only quad that I kept in my Declutter series. I think this is really fun and something about these oranges are very rich and impactful and they really made a good impression on me, which is why I kept it. I just am not gonna reach for it more than the other things going forward. I like everything else more, so that's why this one's here. 61 is my Cherry Crush palette from Colourpop. I really enjoy this one. I like how it's laid out. It's monochromatic in the sense that it's cherry vibes, but we have kind of pinks, reds, and then purpley shades. I enjoy this one a lot. Again, it's just, I don't love it enough to rank it any higher, but I have had a lot of fun with it. Number 60, this is the Triumph of Venus palette by Kyla, formerly known as Mousse Beauty. I love this color story. I like the blue smoky tones. I like the pops of warmth. I think this is a very aesthetically pleasing color story and I had a lot of fun playing with this. Again, I'm a broken record. I don't really have a reason why it's not ranked any higher. I just like everything else a little bit more. 59 is my High Society palette from Colourpop. I quite enjoy this one. I love these shades of green and greeny yellow. It has kind of like a tealy vibe. I think this is a very unique kind of 5-pan while still keeping it monochromatic. This one I've had a lot of fun with. But one that I like just a tad bit more is Statement Piece from Colourpop. I love these corally tones. I think these peachy vibes are very cute. I've had so much fun with this one. These get very bright on the eyes as well. 57 is going to be my Joshua Tree palette by Aether Beauty. I think this one is a lot of fun too. It has just rich but dusty tones. It's colorful but muted. It's very unique. I don't have anything like this and I really enjoy it. I just like the next one a little bit more because there are some beautiful shimmers in it. Number 56 is by Geology Cosmetics. This is the Pilbara palette and I really like it. I love these harvesty, earthy, autumnal tones. I love the shimmers. The shimmers really impressed me in this palette. I quite like this one a lot. But the next one has beautiful shimmers and a beautiful color story all wrapped into one, so yeah. Number 55 is also by Aether Beauty. This is the Moonlight palette, and it is so pretty. It's basically just an enchanted lake in the middle of a forest. That's the vibe I get. It's very magical, very ethereal, and I love this one. The shimmers are very pretty on the lid as well. Number 54 is the High Tide palette from Colourpop. Probably my favorite monochromatic palette they've done, honestly. At least one of them. I really love these tones. I like the different shades of teal. The shimmers are quite lovely as well. I've had so much fun playing with this, and I'm very, very partial to teal and blue eyeshadow. I think this is beautiful. 53 is going to be my Rococo palette, though, from Kyla, formerly known as Mousse Beauty. I really like this color story. It kind of gives me Huda Beauty Mercury retrograde vibes, which I never ended up picking up that palette, but I love the kind of vibes that this color story gives me. I think the mattes blend beautifully and the shimmers are lovely, and I just think it's a very fun kind of half neutral, half colorful palette, so I like this one. It's a lot of fun. However, a pastel-y one I enjoy more is going to be number 52, my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams. This was also a gift and I love it. The shimmers are amazing. I just love Give Me Glow's metallic so much, and I'm just really happy to have a collection of Give Me Glow shadows that are in pastel form because they perform beautifully. Number 51 is gonna be my Verdandi palette from Odin's Eye. It's very weird to see an Odin's Eye palette ranked so low because most of my Odin's Eye palettes are ranked very, very highly. The only reason this one is so low is just because it's my least favorite color story out of all the Odin's Eye ones. It's just a little more on the tame side. We have kind of peaches with pretty shimmers and some neutrals. It's very cute, don't get me wrong. I just don't love it as much as the other color stories going forward, but formula-wise, I love this more than everything I've talked about so far. Moving on to number 50, I just realized we're in the upper half now. We've been in the upper half for a couple palettes, so that's really exciting. The last couple palettes were in my top half, so that's great. Number 50 is the So Very Lovely palette, and I do think it's so very lovely. I think it's such a cute, charming color story. I love the pops of lilac. I like the neutrals in here. I like the rosy tones. I just think it's a very cute, springy, fun color story. However, number 49, my Unearthly Cosmetics, formerly known as Alien Cosmetics Bunnies palette. These shimmers are just so outstanding. I knew I had to rank this one a little bit higher than what I've ranked the other things. These shimmers just blow me away. I'm very impressed with them. 48 is my Fantasy palette from Game Beauty. I adore this color story. I think it is so cute, so fun. It's kind of like an Arctic wintry vibe. I like how whimsical it is. I like the pops of pastel with the rich blue tones. This one is a lot of fun to play with, and this duochrome is amazing. However, number 47's color story I like more. This is the Colourpop Tinkerbell Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. I love this color story. I love the different shades of green. I love this pop of like turquoisey seafoamy green. It's very pretty. The couple neutrally pinks in here. It's a very aesthetically pleasing color story, so this one has been a lot of fun to play with. However, number 46, the Flight Club palette from Menagerie. I just love Menagerie's formula. I think the shimmers are so brilliant and the mattes are so incredibly pigmented and they blend out like an absolute dream. I adore this one. The only reason I didn't rank this one higher is just because it's a little monochromatic for me. I feel like it should have had just a couple other spicy shades in here to make it a little bit more exciting, but aside from that, I do love this a lot. It's just mostly these two shades. They're just a little boring to me, but maybe I'll switch them out one day. Number 45 is my Harbinger palette. I'm so happy we're in the upper half because all of these, I love them so much. The Harbinger is great. It's my favorite Game Beauty palette so far. Oh, that's tough. The Adventure palette's a close second, but I love this one. I love how kind of deep and smoky it is. There's a couple pops of color. Some of these shimmers like these two, absolutely breathtaking. This one's very just unique and I feel very creative when I use it. Number 44 is my Saga of Freya palette from Odin's Eye. This is a book style, so it has two palettes. There's one on this side and one on this side. I'll try to show you them at the same time. The main reason I ranked this one as low as I did is just because it's a little inconvenient to use this palette opening both sides of the book, but I do enjoy it when I do use it. I think it's a lot of fun and I love, love, love the formulas. Number 43 is my Millennial Pinks, and I know this is controversial. Not everybody loves this palette, but I sure do. And I think the color story is breathtaking. Ever since they announced it, I fell in love with it. I love the gray blues with the dusty pinks. Mine performs great for me personally. I've never met a melt product I didn't like, and this is no exception. I just love it. So now 41 and 42 I'm gonna show together because they're basically tied. They're just a reason why I put these the way I did. These are the Les Jardins palettes from Kyla, formerly known as Mousse Beauty. This is the first one, this is the newer one. They're basically the same, except Les Jardins 2 right here is the slightly deeper, richer version of it. So for that reason, I felt like because they were basically the same color story, I needed to pair them together. But for ranking purposes, this is 42, this is 41, because I do like this one a little bit more. This one is my other decluttered one that I said I saved for later because there's no sense in me keeping both. But yeah, I felt like I couldn't rank this one low and then rank this one high because they're basically the same. This one's just a little bit richer. So decluttered, kept, like it more, like it slightly less. But honestly, if this one had never come out, I would definitely keep this one and this would be in its same place. Number 40 is my Of Quartz palette from Colourpop. Again, I love me some cool tone neutrals. These lean very grayy and I love it. I think they're beautiful and so fun to play with and I feel very glamorous when I wear it. Number 39 is my Sugar Pill Fun Size 2. I just love this. I think the colors are so unique and so much fun to play with. I adore my first fun size and I think I like this one even more than the first one. I just think it's such a blast to play with. I just didn't rank it any higher because I just have a little bit more fun with everything else going forward. Shimmers are a big thing for me though. I love having shimmer, so an all matte palette is very unlikely to make it like very, very high. 38 is my Hauntingly Glamorous palette by Unearthly Cosmetics, formerly known as Alien Cosmetics, in collaboration with Sydney Nicole Adams. Ooh, that's a mouthful. This is just so beautiful. I like the spooky vibe. I love how rich and deep the mattes get. There are two really pretty topper shades in here. I've had a lot of fun with this one. I feel very creative and inspired when I use this. She absolutely killed it with this color story. Number 37 is my 420 palette from Melt Cosmetics, another gift and another controversial one because not everybody likes this one either, but I don't know what to tell you. I think the mattes perform wonderfully for me. If you don't like it, that's fine, but I personally love it. I think it's a lot of fun and this color story just gets me. I love these grungy, vibey tones. Number 36 is my America's Parks palette from Nomad Cosmetics. I just love these earthy, colorful tones. It's just so beautiful to look at and a lot of fun to play with. The shimmers in here are outstanding. But for the number 35 slot, I'm giving it to the Nightmare Before Christmas palette with Colourpop. I just like the story a little bit more than everything else I've talked about. Does it scream Nightmare Before Christmas? Not really to me, but I do still think by itself as a color story, it's quite lovely. I think it's so beautiful. I love the deep smokiness with the pops of pinky purple. I think this is so much fun to play with. Number 34 is my Red Dragon palette from Odin's Eye in collaboration with Judy. It is just so beautiful. Look at these tones. It's an autumnal dream. It gets so deep and it can get grungy too, and the shimmers are just absolutely outstanding. I'm obsessed with this whole collaboration, the whole Legendary Diversa. It's amazing. And number 33 is another Odin's Eye palette. This is the Amber Tears palette. Again, I love a pinky reddy purple color story and the shimmers in here are outstanding. I just love Odin's Eye's formula so incredibly much and this color story makes me very happy. I like how playful it is. It's very cute. Number 32 is my Sugar Pill Capsule Anniversary palette. It's so lovely. I love the shimmers in here too, and I just think the color story's fun. These capsule palettes just bring me a lot of joy. I don't know what it is. And I'm not usually one for mismatched pans like this, but with this like format of a palette, I think it works. It fits the theme, and this one just brings me a lot of joy and fun. And number 31 is my Schooled palette. Remember when I told you earlier that it has to be really special for me to love an all shimmer palette? Well, that's this. The shimmers in here are just breathtaking. They are so glitzy and wonderful, and I feel absolutely beautiful when I wear these on my eyes. This is such a fun one to dip into. Oh my gosh, can you believe we're getting into my top 30? I can't. This is my Blend Bunny Cosmetics Blends palette. She sent this to me after I loved the Surge so much, and I'm so happy she sent this to me because it's literally the ultimate rainbow palette. That's why I had to rank it so high. It is such a killer formula, and this is such a staple. Like, if you need a rainbow palette, this is the one to get. It's so good. Number 29 is my Lush in Paradise palette from Colourpop. I think this is my favorite Colourpop palette of the year, actually. No, I take that back. I think there's another one coming forward, but it's one of my favorites. It's beautiful. I love the rich tones. I know this is so hard to show on camera, but I love the rich jungly tones. I think the colors are so pretty, and this one brought me a lot of joy to play with. I think it's so fun. Number 28 is my Cat's Breath palette from Odin's Eye. I just love the different shades of turquoise. I love the pops of warmth in here. And again, those shimmers are absolutely outstanding. They killed it with this. It makes me so happy. All of these going forward make me so happy. I just love them. Number 27 is my Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse palette. I love this. This was a gift as well this year, and I'm just so grateful for this present. It's wonderful. I love Lunar Beauty's formula, and this palette is just so rich and so smoky. Love the combination of the blues with the smoky neutrals. I think this is a very, very, very fun palette to play with. It's so glamorous but colorful at the same time. Okay, number 26 is my favorite Colourpop palette of the year. This is the Limoncello, and I don't know what it is. Something about this color story is just so appealing to me. I love these neutrals with the blue and the yellow. There's really pretty shimmers in here like this duochrome. Something about this palette just made me really happy. I loved this entire launch, and I just felt like it was deserving of being ranked pretty high because it's just a lot of fun to play with. Number 25, I can't believe I'm at my top 25. This is the Mary Jane palette from Melt. I love cool tones. I love Melt's formula, and these shimmers are so beautiful, and they look very just glitzy and textured on the eyes, but in the best way. I love this. I feel so glamorous and so pretty when I wear it. Number 24 is my Likely Makeup Ugly palette. This is beautiful. I've been having so much fun with this one lately. I think it's such a fun, just colorful but unique color story. It's not just a basic rainbow. And the shimmers at the bottom are really pretty. They just give a really nice wet effect. I've had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's very cool. Number 23 is my Lethal is Dead palette. This was in collaboration with Lethal Cosmetics and Teresa's Dead, and Teresa just killed it. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy she got to do a collab. It's such a fitting collab, and this is such a beautiful color story. I love the colors in here, and I love, love, love the shimmers. It's beautiful. I like the horror names. It's very, very cute. Number 22 is my Vivid Rose palette. This is the oldest palette out of all of these this year. I tried this like the very beginning of 2021, and I still love it. Like, this has surpassed the whole year, staying really high in my ranking. I just love Give Me Glow's formula. I love the shimmers. The mattes are outstanding, and I've just had such a blast with this one. It's a lot of fun to play with. Number 21 is another addition to the Odin's Eye Legendary Diversa collection. This is the Hummingbird palette in collaboration with Tina from the Fancy Face, and it's just so lovely. Just look at these bright colors. They're magnificent. They're colorful, but this palette also gets very deep. This multi-chrome here is outstanding. Oh my gosh, this one just makes me feel very creative as well. All right, number 20, this is the Nomad Cosmetics Haunted Europe palette. This was such a good release from them. I love the smoky tones and then also the kind of brighter pops. I think this is just a very fun, kind of smoky, spooky color story. It makes me very happy. Number 19 is my BH Cosmetics Blueberry Muffin palette. I finally treated myself to this after wanting it for so long, and I am not disappointed in the slightest. I love the different shades of blue, teal, periwinkle. I even love the neutrals that they chose for this palette. This one's a lot of fun. I'm mad that I slept on it as long as I did because this is amazing. Number 18 is the Moonspell Volume 2 from Lunar Beauty. I had a lot of fun with this one as well. This is another one that's a little controversial. Some people really loved it and some people really hated it. I'm one that really, really loved it. I, again, love a pink, purple, red color story, and I really enjoyed the shimmers in here, and the mattes blended beautifully for me. They're very bright, very pigmented, and I've just had a lot of fun creating some just creative looks with this. It made me happy. Number 17 is from Unearthly Cosmetics, formerly known as Alien Cosmetics. This is the Not Normal palette, my favorite launch from them this year. I just love this grungy Beetlejuice vibe color story. I think it's so cute, and I've had such a blast playing with this one. Number 16 is my Glamlight and Michaela palette. This was my first time trying Glamlight, and I was so happy with this one. I adore the shimmers in here so much. They are so incredibly wet looking and glistening on the eyes. I'll be honest, I don't use the top row a whole ton besides this willow shade up here, but everything else I really, really enjoy using, and I've had a blast with this. I knew immediately this was gonna be one of my favorite palettes this year. Number 15, my top 15 palettes of 2021. This is awesome. This is the Nomad Cosmetics Iceland palette. They just killed this one. So good. One of the best launches for 2021 in my opinion. They just did such a beautiful job with this color story. I love the shimmers and the mattes are so fun. I love the fire and ice concept. I love the pop of like green and purple. This is such a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing color story. Number 14 is my Norns palette from Odin's Eye. I've just had so much fun with this. I played with it again very recently actually, and it makes me really happy. These shimmers at the bottom are outstanding. I really like the deep tones in here. It's a very shimmer heavy palette, but Odin's Eye shimmers are just so special. I love it. They could probably give me a 16 pan palette of shimmers and I'd be happy. This one's just very creative. It's very unique, and I've just had so much fun playing with this one since really the beginning of the year, honestly. And number 13 is also from Odin's Eye. This is the Erd palette. I love this one. These greens, are you kidding me? What a cute little 6-pan. I'm just so into this one. I feel like you can do a lot with it based on the mattes that they gave you and the shimmer choices. This dark shimmer green is out of this world. It's so good. Number 12 is my Strawberry Dream palette from Lunar Beauty. This was also a gift and I'm just so excited about it. This is so bright and fun, but it can also be very like toned down and play more with like the neutral berry realm. It's very fun to play with. I've had such a blast. The mattes are so brilliant and the shimmers are wonderful. And number 11 is my Lethal Cosmetics After Dark palette. This was also a gift and I love it. It's so bright and fun. I just feel so cute and playful when I use these colors. I love how they play together. It's a very unique color story and it makes me very happy. Oh my gosh, my top 10 palettes of 2021. Oh, I'm so excited. Number 10 is my Lethal Cosmetics Velvet Dusk. Again, this was a gift. I got this at the very, very tail end of 2020, but I tried it for the first time in 2021 and it stood the test of time, both this one and the After Dark. I love these. This one is so dark and grungy and wonderful. Oh, and I love the shimmer choices in here. This one is just such a cool color story. It makes me so happy. Number 9 is my Glaminatrix You Beauty palette. Mine's a little dirty because my yellow exploded, but this is wonderful. These rich, deep mattes, and I love that like weird sagey green matte. The multi-chromes in here are out of this world. Good Day. That's such a good shade. I love this palette. This one had such a good impression on me. Number 8 is my Beauty Bay Age of Opulence palette. I only tried this about a month ago and it had such a good impression on me. I love the shimmers. I love the turquoises with the fuchsia purples. I even like the neutrals in here. I think it's a really good combination. You can do a lot with this. The shimmers are so glitzy. I love their shimmer formula. It is absolutely amazing. Number 7 is my Ace Beauté Tropical Vibes. Like, are you kidding me with this color story? This is a grungy dream. It looks like a jungle. I love it. These mattes are wonderful and the shimmers are amazing, and they recently did reformulate all their palettes, so if you didn't like their formula before, you might like it now. I personally did like it before, but I do still like it now. And this color story is amazing. It's my favorite color story they've ever come out with. Number 6, I'm giving it to the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos. This was in collaboration with Angelica and she absolutely killed it. This is such a wonderful palette, such a wonderful color story. I love the different shimmers in here, and those really deep jewel tone mattes are so good. You can do a lot with this palette. It makes me feel so creative. Oh, my top 5. These are such good picks in my opinion. Number 5, I'm actually giving to the Bad Witch Club from Give Me Glow. I just tried this out, but I've already played with it quite a few times, even though it's brand new in my collection. And I love this. Hands down, one of my favorite color stories this year, obviously, or it wouldn't be ranked to number 5. I love Give Me Glow's formula. Again, the shimmers are outstanding and the mattes are so rich and buttery and pigmented. I've had such a blast playing with it. I really don't intend on stopping playing with it anytime soon. I think this one is so much fun. Number 4, I'm giving it to my Giant Wolves palette from Odin's Eye. This was in collaboration with Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner. I love this. Annette killed it. These dark, grungy tones, this multi-chrome right here is so good. This is such a beautiful, beautiful, stunning palette. I'm so proud of her. This is absolutely amazing. Number 3, I'm giving it to my Blend Bunny Cosmetics Surge palette. I fell in love with them this year because of this palette. It's just such a masterpiece. The pastels, the neons, the deep, rich jewel tones, the row of shimmers. It's so aesthetically pleasing and the formula is out of this world. Their mattes truly blend like a dream. They blend without you even having to try. They're so good and the neons are so bright and pigmented. I adore this palette. It's such a staple in my collection now. Number 2 is my Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. I think we all saw this coming. It's so good. I've had such an amazing time playing with this. It's so colorful, but rich and a little grungy. I like the shimmers in here so incredibly much. I'm so happy I tried Beauty Bay's formula this year. This palette is out of this world. It is so good. Easily one of my favorites in my whole collection, not even just for this year. And finally, drum roll please, my favorite palette of 2021. I'm giving it to my Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. Honestly, I called this since the beginning. Ever since this launched, it has been my favorite release of the year. It's so beautiful. This color story just makes me so happy with the turquoise and the dusty pinks and the grungy olivey chartreuse. This is so good. Not only is it my favorite palette of 2021, it's my favorite palette in my whole collection. I did do a ranking my top 10 palettes video a couple months ago. Aside from my personal collab palette, this is my favorite palette in my collection. I just think it's so good. All right, 109 palettes ranked. I hope this was a good video. Let's finish this up. Outro, Betty Jean, take it over. All right, how was it? I hope you enjoyed. 109 palettes ranked. That's a lot. I actually filmed that portion of the video 2 evenings ago, and my friend Rachel came by yesterday to start picking through my decluttered palettes finally, since I was officially done with them. And I'm happy I don't have to see some of them again anymore. I feel like a good synopsis of the palettes I tried this year is I didn't try too many horrible things. There were only a couple things on my ranking that were like awful palettes for me. A good amount of the palettes were fairly decent, and then a lot of palettes I tried were wonderful. I tried a lot of really good palettes this year, but it has been a fun year for eyeshadow. I've enjoyed very much trying out new things, and it's really cool looking back and seeing what the brands came out with. Like, it's weird even thinking back to my Sugar Pill Anniversary palette. Like, that palette's been kicking for about a year now. It's just, time goes by so quick. It feels like that was just the other day, but it also feels like a lifetime ago. I'm really excited for 2022. I'm excited to see all the new releases. I'm excited to see what brands come out with. I'm excited to see like what new brands sprout out. I'm pumped. I think it's gonna be a good year, but we're also gonna walk in cautiously and slowly. Don't touch anything. Be safe in 2022. I would love to hear your thoughts though. Did you like my ranking video? Did my ranking make sense to you? Do you love any of the palettes that I super love as well? I would love to hear all of your thoughts. What are your favorite palettes that you tried this year? Please let me know down below. If you made it to the end of this video, oh, I don't know. Leave me your favorite food emoji. That seems like a good one. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the BATTYBEAN fam. I am BATTYBEAN on everything. I post every day on Instagram, and I'm pretty active on TikTok and Twitter as well. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I post most days over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.